Time for another fragrance review. I'm gonna do a hype buster, ASMR style. I'm gonna do a hype buster. I'm gonna do Initio's Oud for Greatness, dude. You already know that's my end of the review hype buster, right? I just want to say this. I actually am quite surprised by I'm late to getting around to smelling this. I feel like this has been getting hype in the fragrance community for maybe like a year and a half. I'm pretty surprised by the hype it's getting. I don't think it's necessarily offensive or anything. I don't think it's offensive, right? I don't think it's like funky or anything. But seeing so many reviewers, be like, oh, this is so awesome. This is amazing. Even seeing some reviewers be like, oh man, such amazing compliments, all that kind of stuff. That is pretty surprising to me. In my opinion, if you trust what I say, which you don't have to, fuck Clayton, you don't have to listen to anything I say, really, right? I personally would not recommend wearing this if I was going for compliments, right? I'm not saying it can't get compliments, but I do think it's a vibe fragrance, and I think it's very interesting when I smelled this because, again, I do think this is a vibe fragrance, right? But I don't think this is necessarily older smelling, like daddy kind of older. I think this is almost older smelling grandpa kind of when it kind of grandpa, right? Like when this dries down, this reminds me, I'm getting like images of being a kid and your uncle or your grandpa is wearing some cologne. That's kind of like it's like triggering a memory when I smell this, right? I personally I don't find it particularly sexy. And again, I think it's very interesting. It's not a bad smell. It's not a bad smell. It's not like an offensive oud. It's not terrible or anything like that. It's not. You don't have to worry about smelling funky. But it's just very interesting to me the amount of hype this is getting when you think that there's some people in the fragrance community that are like, oh, Tom Ford fragrances are too out there, or it's like if you think Tom Ford fragrances, some of his fragrances are too out there and funky, whatever, and you think this is okay, that is surprising to me. I just think, man, I mean, I just think if you're a dude, if you're a guy, trying to get compliments, which I guess a lot of people are trying to do, right? You know what I mean? If that's what you're in the game for, personally, I wouldn't recommend this. There are so many other vibe fragrances that I would wear. Again, geez, I think, if I was trying to smell what I consider sexy, right? You know what I mean? A little potentially like a vibe, Tuscan leather, tobacco vanille, amber absolute, straight to heaven. You know what I mean? Those kind of fragrances. If I was trying to go for a little bit more old, kind of like older, sexy kind of vibe, right? And if you needed like a designer thing, there's tons of you like, some John Varvatos. They do some okay kind of vibe fragrances. I think if you get what I'm saying, and if you're just looking for oud, I mean, geez, it doesn't really have like an oud kind of vibe per se, but if you're going for like compliments, House of Sillage #1 supposedly has oud in it. Great compliment getter, smells great. Definitely not. I wouldn't get that if you're thinking about oud, but even something I guess if you're thinking oud maybe or a very woody kind of vibe. I think that House of Matriarchs, is it black #1? Is it that black? Is it the black #1? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's got like that's like a leather kind of frame, like I think leather, green, and wood, right? Is that what I'm thinking about? Black #1. I should look up. You know what? Fuck it, dude. I'm gonna look it up. Is it black #1? House of Matriarch? Oh, what am I thinking of? Oh man, this is okay, dude. Should I edit this video? Should I edit this video? House of Matriarch. Oh yeah, black #1, right? That's what it's called, right? That supposedly has oud in it, right? Yeah. I mean, you could get that. You know what I mean? I would get, you could get that over this. I'm just, and this isn't anything against like Initio, because again, my only thing against Initio was I said, I was very disappointed. They didn't send me anything. All these other reviewers were getting free bottles, all this kind of stuff. They said they wouldn't even send me a sample. That kind of hurt me, right? Because again, I like the fragrances that I've smelled. Like I ended up getting a decant of Side Effect, Rehab. I'd probably get a decant if I had more money of it, of Absolute Aphrodisiac, and is it Mystic? I think it might be Mystic Experience. I forget, but whatever the case, I just wasn't impressed with this. I don't buy the hype. I wouldn't recommend it myself if I was going for a vibe fragrance to someone else. I think there's so much more better that you could do, but your mileage would vary. Your mileage may vary. You know what I mean? But I guess my opinion is just personally, if you trust Clayton's opinion, which you don't, fuck Clayton, right? If I was going for a vibe fragrance, an older, potentially daddy, I've been a bad girl kind of fragrance, you know what I mean? A little bit of a harsher, rougher vibe. I would not go for this personally. So I'm giving this a hype buster, right? The end. Oh yeah, performance was good. Yeah, performance was good. I tried. Performance was good, but I just wasn't really my thing, right?